what a game! The Cowboys absolutely demolished the Raiders tonight, and I'm not even exaggerating. We didn't just beat them, we whooped them. Completely dominated from start to finish, and honestly, it feels good to say that after the kind of season we've been having. Things suddenly look a little different around here, and I've got a lot to say about what we just witnessed. What's up, Cowboys? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Cowboys. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the Americas team. Let me start with the biggest story of the night, and that's Quinton Williams. This man changed everything. I know it's just one game, and I know it's the Raiders and their offensive line isn't great, but here's the thing. We've seen terrible offensive lines all year long keep us from getting any pressure. The Giants had a bad line. We couldn't get to them. The Bears' O-line wasn't good. We couldn't capitalize. The Panthers couldn't pass block well, and we still struggled. But tonight, with Quinton Williams on that field, it was a completely different story. You could just see it immediately, the way he pops off the ball, the way he's getting into gaps, stacking, shedding blockers, and just chasing plays down. We haven't had that kind of pop and energy on the defensive line since David Irving, and that's been a while. Quinton looked like he had this new energy about him, like he was just sick of being stuck with the Jets or something. He was making big effort plays, running down plays from behind, just showing that dog mentality we desperately needed. And watching him work, it's not just the size and power, it's his handwork, the way he gets off the ball, the way he's lifting offensive linemen's hands up and just pushing them back. It was beautiful to watch. What really stood out to me was how his presence elevated everyone else around him. Odighizuwa and Kenny Clark, they had a little more pep in their step tonight. They were bouncing around more because now they have a real standard set in front of them. They're playing next to someone who's going full speed every snap, and it's making them better. Kenny wasn't getting double-teamed all game like he usually does, and Quinton went right back to playing A-gap where he belongs, right in front of the quarterback, in front of the center. That's his home, and you could tell. The rotation at the defensive end looked better too. It seemed like they gave the majority of snaps to the guys who deserve them instead of just trying to give everyone equal playing time. Now, I need to talk about George Pickens because this man put on an absolute clinic. 9 catches for 144 yards and a touchdown, averaging 16 yards per reception. Game ball goes to him without question. George Pickens is a straight dog, and every week he shows you exactly why. What amazes me is how teams just keep letting him run these slant routes all day long. I don't understand it. Maybe they're so scared of giving him an outside release and getting burned deep that they're just conceding the underneath stuff. But when you let a guy that size and that talented get the ball in his hands on slants, bad things are going to happen to your defense. The thing about Pickens that really stands out is how limber he is for a tall guy. Normally, tall receivers don't move the way he moves. They don't turn and slip out of tackles like he does. He's always fighting for extra yards, never giving up on a play. And every game he has like this, it's making it more and more difficult to imagine him not being on this team long term. I'm telling you right now, if George Pickens isn't on this roster next year, then our front office isn't trying hard enough. You can make the money work. Don't tell me about the salary cap. If he's not here, it's because they don't want to spend the cash, not because the cap won't allow it.
Now, here's something interesting. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens were both benched to start the game. They missed some things in Vegas, probably didn't get back to the hotel when they were supposed to, and Coach Schottenheimer disciplined them. But you know what? He hugged them, then he used them, and they went out there and balled out. That's how you handle it. Pickens got going first and opened everything up for CeeDee, and once CeeDee got his touchdown, you saw Schottenheimer hugging both of them. They needed each other tonight, and that's the beautiful thing about having two legitimate weapons. When defenses focus too much on one, the other one eats. That's the life you dream of for your quarterback. And you know, George Pickens is second on the list of most receiving yards after Week 11 with 908 yards. The best part is that he has only 58 receptions and 7 touchdowns. Jackson Smith-Njigba is on top of the list, with 72 receptions, 14 more receptions with only 5 touchdowns. This alone stat will tell you how good he is. Speaking of the offense, Dak Prescott was nearly perfect tonight. Nobody really asked about him in the press conference, and I think we just take his play for granted sometimes. But the man was dealing. The offense got back on track, and a big reason for that was getting the run game going. When you can run the football and take those shots downfield like they did tonight, everything else opens up. Tyler Smith blocking Max Crosby on passing plays was just fun to watch. They were scheming things up and having a good time out there. The secondary showed some improvement too. Deron Bland was getting his hands on football, Trevon Diggs was making plays, and you know why? Because the ball was coming out fast. When you have that kind of pass rush, corners can play differently. They know the quarterback is under pressure, so they can be more aggressive. That's what a real pass rusher does for your defense. Kenneth Murray even made a decent coverage play, and I never thought I'd say that. The pass rush made him look competent for one play, and I'll give him credit for actually turning and finding the receiver instead of just staring at the quarterback. Malik Hooker being back at safety helped with communication too. He came up and supported the run, had a tackle for loss, and just provided that veteran presence the defense needed. Carson looked pretty good again. Second game in a row where he's shown up and played solid football. He looked confident and aggressive out there. If he can continue developing, that's huge for us moving forward because we need corner help badly. The whole defense just looked energized. Before this game, I could have seen us getting shredded by a bad team because that's what we've been doing, but Quinton Williams showing up changed the whole mentality. Everyone had to keep up with his intensity, and you could see it. This was the perfect practice game before we hit the tough part of our schedule. We needed live reps against real opponents to see how things would look with all these new pieces, and we got exactly that. Now, looking ahead to the Eagles game, I'm not going to lie, I'm feeling a little hopeful. The Eagles are 8-2, but I don't think they're that good. They keep winning, but they're not dominating anyone. Jalen Hurts can't see downfield, and he struggles with pressure. If we can push the pocket and keep him from escaping, I think we have a real shot. Their offensive line is better than the Raiders, no question, but Quinton Williams and this pass rush can get to anyone. Lane Johnson will be out too, which will help us. I wish we could time travel back to the start of the season with Quinton Williams because I'd absolutely believe we're making the playoffs. It might be too little too late, but let's see. If we go beat the Eagles, things are about to get really interesting. We're finally getting things together on defense right as we're more than halfway through the season. The pass rush is coming alive, corners are starting to make plays, and the offense is clicking. This game showed me that when you actually put good players on your team and let them do what they do best, football becomes a lot more fun to watch. Quinton Williams is a monster, George Pickens is a star, and if we can keep this energy going into Philadelphia, we might shock some people. The Cowboys just beat the brakes off the Raiders, and for the first time in a while, I'm excited about what's coming next.